This year, students and staff have all had the opportunity to read several books. Today we will explore their favorite books of 2024 and the impact that they have had on the students and staff. This is James Beers, Sr., Adam McMurray, Sophomore, and Administrator Mr. Sterling.
My favorite book is Outliers. It's kind of about different circumstances and how some people are just have different unique circumstances and different kind of abilities that they have. And I really kind of liked the storytelling that it had with different people and kind of seeing different people's stories and how they kind of achieved their unique abilities in a way, and it's still being being true stories makes it really cool.
I'd say The Boys by Garth Ennis. It's about this world where everybody's obsessed with superheroes. Superheroes are real, and they're more like celebrities, if anything. They're not actually really like superheroes. They don't save people. They're incredibly selfish, and they mostly do unsavory things. And this really ticks off a man called Billy Butcher. He works for the CIA and is trying to kill most of the superheroes as much as he can. And one superhero who's inspired by Superman is the worst of them all, and he's basically the main goal. They're trying to kill him because he's incredibly powerful.
My favorite book I read this year is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's been around for a very long time, but I like it because it's got a lot of leadership into it and a lot of talk as to how to make a great first impression and build relationships so that you can then later make positive influences, whether you're leading at work, leading on a team, all the different aspects in life.
Next, Caroline Alcorn Jr., Monet Ballard Sr., and Emery Kirkowitz Sophomore share their favorite read of this year.
Before We Were Yours. It's about this it's a nonfiction about the American dream. It goes between two perspectives of one's in the present day and one's in 1939, and the girl in 1939, she's 12 years old, and her siblings get taken to this orphanage, and it's abusive and stuff. It's really interesting, and it's really sad, but there's so much to it that none of us can stop reading it.
My favorite book would probably be All the Bright Places. Basically, it's two kids. Finch, he's the school freak or whatever, and he's struggle with anxiety and bipolar disorder and just suicidal thoughts, and he meets this girl, and she's kind of struggling right now, and because her sister just passed away, and so they go on this adventure together, because they have a class together, and they go to all different small places in their town, and they fall in love. Through this Finch helps her, but then Finch kind of loses himself because he just is trying to live for her. I like when they're different perspectives. It's and it's makes it really quick to read, but I really feel I was put in the characters' view. So
I liked reading After the First Death. It was really interesting. It was about terrorism, but it was the best book that we read in language arts so far. I just thought it was an interesting story, and I don't really during school I don't read anything besides what we read in language arts class. So I was it was the most interesting one. So I was oh, it's not boring.
Lastly, librarian Mrs. Sheritz, Nora Lindahl Freshman, Bianca Craig Sophomore, and Corbin Garrett Sophomore talk about their favorite books they have read this year.
My favorite book of this year is The Women by Kristen Hanna, which is historical fiction, and it's about this girl in her 20s who has lived during the Vietnam War. And at the start of the book, her older brother decides to enlist, and he gets sent over to Vietnam, and her family just celebrates him and his bravery and his courage so much, and she is also trying to find her identity and wants to contribute as well. So she enlists as a nurse, and literally the same day she enlists, the family receives word that her brother has died, and that just happens in the first 20 pages. So from there, it's action-packed. You get to watch Frankie really grow up and become herself. It talks about super heavy topics, post-traumatic stress disorder in soldiers, but it's also about families, and it's just a phenomenal book.
My favorite book this year has been Perks of Being a Wallflower, because it's about a kid who writes letters to his friends, and they're all seniors, and it shows his story throughout his freshman year, and because I'm a freshman and I have senior friends, so I can relate.
It's called The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. Basically, it's kind of like Lord of the Flies, but with girls, like a little bit, and they get like sent away for a year to like get rid of their witch magic, and then, but like that's not real, it's just kind of a myth that's made up. And there's like a lot of violence, but also it's just like a really good commentary on about like a society of men like treating women differently.
My favorite books are Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. They're very easy to understand, and they have great overlying themes of overcoming being a loser compared to being good in school and in your activities. And it proves that even if you don't have a lot going for you in the infancy of your life, you can have a lot going for you in the future.
This has been Grace Deutsch and Mia Rubenstein with MHS News reporting.